Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Okay. And visible also? Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Good evening, everyone. I am welcoming you on behalf of our President, Dr. Shubhashri Sarkar Jamshedpur Saudya School Complex. I welcome our resource person, Sanchita Srivastav, ma'am, and all the attendee. Are we ready to start, ma'am, or we can wait?
Yes, ma'am. Just 1 or 2 minutes. Just you give me. I'll just
Okay,
set the
okay.
screen. So
All
is
right.
the screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Screen is also
Okay,
visible.
okay. So
Okay.
again, once again, welcome all of you. And we start our session on
Yes.
community outreach. Okay. So this community outreach is today's topic for the session. Right. So community outreach, can anybody tell me that what is community actually? You can use the chat box. What is community? It is what? Yes, anyone? You can use the chat box. Community is? Yes, community is a society. Yes. Yes, obviously it is a society. That means it is a place. Okay, it is a place, and in other sense, a community is your habitat. Habitat means the dwelling place of any organism is scientifically called an habitat. The term habitat is used for that. So we know that we human beings, we all are social animals. We're social animal. We cannot live isolated and we cannot live alone. So we need human company for everything, isn't it? So the place that facilitates human company, a place where you get all your needs from, your day-to-day requirement, is called a community. Okay. And what is outreach? The word outreach is you reach out to those people of the community who are not in any business association with you. So, for example, when we are doing these training session, we belong to the domain of school, isn't it? So, school is our own domain, and we reach out to a student as well as we reach out to our parents. But this NEP 2020 has made this community outreach, means the schools are the stakeholders and they are responsible for the development of the entire community. So outreach means you reach to those people who is definitely not directly under your concern. That means the entire society, that is your responsibility. And how do you reach out to them? Because schools are an institution and we have immense responsibility and as the social responsibilities of the school. So now you see, definitely community buildings involves a range of activities. For example, you recognize a relationship among all the people. For example, a tenant or a housing complex is there. Okay, so wherever you are going through these, okay, that means there comes an involvement in the community. That means what? Through schools you have to reach out to all the people of the community so that you can build. See, education is not the only one responsibility given to the schools, because schools have varied responsibility. See, we have in our schools we have so many awareness programs, right? So what are these awareness programs? For example, you have awareness for this COVID situation. Okay, we went through COVID and all the schools were locked down and we couldn't reach out to the student. But as soon as these vaccines were developed, okay, so after the vaccines was developed, the school was the only platform where you could give vaccination also to the children. That means it became a platform for developing, promoting social health or promoting health to the children, isn't it? So This actually we cannot do alone. Okay, so this community involvement is definitely an interactive activity where we as school teachers, we as school authorities, we can reach out to those people who need help. Okay, and what is the medium? See, we are not politicians. We don't belong to some political parties or those. The way NGOs work, we cannot literally at the grassroots level, we cannot behave that way, isn't it? Because we have to work and we have to stay under our domain to reach out to the people. For example, our children are to be trained that they become excellent citizen of the country tomorrow, and they help in the development of the process of building a community. So community involvement is the primary need when you are dealing with community outreach program. So here, community, a new conversation platform that enable instant and direct communication you people you want to reach. Using the simplicity, you can text message, promote your number. This is also a social platform, so that way also you can communicate in your community, isn't it? For example, if you want to connect to the people of your society, you need the number, emergency number. Okay, so if you want to reach those people of your community, you can already form a WhatsApp group and you can communicate to them. Okay, so that means actually this is what the word community means. But basically, community is a social structure. Community is a social structure and it is a network. You see these lines flashing on your screen. See, it is a network of human relationship. As I said earlier also, that we are in a society and we are all social animal. So it is a major functional unit of the society, and it is a place where our home is located. Obviously, I said it is the habitat, and the children are educated here itself in the society. For example, if you want to admit your child, you will admit your child in a school that belongs to your society, near to your society. Then sick peoples are to be treated. That means schools, hospitals are also there as a part of the society. And individual basic needs. That means you have shops in your society for to facilitate. Medical shops also there, grocery shops are also there, food joints are also there, and the basic necessities, needs, and desire met. That means if you are living in a particular place, all the daily needs, the basic needs are fulfilled through the area around you. Okay, so no man is an island, because we cannot live like an island. Island means isolated form. From birth to death, all normal human beings are a part of a group or a family or a community, isn't it? So that means the community feature starts there. So that means if you want to help any members in the community, what you do? Basically, if you want to help somebody, what do you do? See, community social system, it organizes itself to meet to the member needs of its member. That means people or members of the community should be easily available to meet the needs of the members or the people living in the society. Now, how you are going to fulfill the needs? Again, I would be taking the example of COVID-19. Now, many old people were also there in your neighborhood, and many of you have helped these neighborhood. In our society, I would be telling that we had young people, young volunteers for that, and since they are old people or the aging community, they were unable to go to the market, unable the medical facilities, their well-being, so they had WhatsApp their numbers. Okay, so we had prepared a community here of young volunteers. So they were also free since the schools were all locked down, so they were doing classes from the house itself. So what did they do? Anybody, they made a WhatsApp group of all the members of this society. Okay, so anybody who needed help used to just give a message, and volunteers would reach to their house, and if they want something, for example, vegetable, grocery, medicine, whatever they needed, okay, so that was provided by these group of teenagers who were working voluntarily. Okay, so that means they catered to the need of a specific group of a society. Okay, so that means again, if we come to the school, we need to build a community together. So build a community together means what? We will be working together and we would be employing. I think it's a wrong word, but we will be deploying our children. That means we will be involving our children so that they become responsible citizens of tomorrow. See, in some housing societies, we know that people next door, they don't know each other. So that means what? As a society member, if they need something, they will not be able to call them because they are isolated. So we need to build a society in such a way that it is a very helpful one and people work together. So that is why we need to go to the children. Now, when we are thinking of meeting the needs of the children, a sustainable development growth. Okay, sustainable development goals are to be maintained. So what is sustainable development goal? Sustainable development goals are basically you cannot leave anybody behind. Okay, nobody should be left behind. For example, in a society, if people are living together, that means they should form a basic standard of humanity should be there. Okay, so that means sustainable. Now, what is sustainable development goal? See, sustainable development, okay, is an organizing principle for meeting the human development goals. That means sustaining the ability of the natural system to provide the natural resource ecosystem services to which the economy and the society depends. That means when you are dealing with community outreach program, the sustainable development goals are to be maintained. And whenever in a community you are developing with sustainable development goals, what are the areas that you have to see to it? For example, in a community, if roads are not proper, so access to transport is also there. Okay, then hunger and poverty, what is the deficit in that particular area, that should be there. Then educating the children, of course, should be there. Healthcare and social care is also there. Enterprise skills should be taught. Then efficient and effective services, improving housing and places, and community safety. That means what? Whenever we are dealing with an entire community, so these are some of the basic areas which I had dealt. Now, whenever you are dealing with sustainable development goals, there are areas. There are three basic areas that you have to focus on. Now, what are those areas where you can focus on? First is the social factor. Now, here in this slide in front of you, what are the social factors? Social factor means how do you socialize that? For example, education is also a social factor. Now, when you deal with poverty and hunger, it is also another part. Social, economical, and environmental. See, environmental issues are also there because you have to take that entire community to at a particular place where you don't leave any one of the three features behind. Okay, so these are the things, uh, it is the responsibility of the school as well as the teacher. How do we reach out to these needs in the society, right? Because we as stakeholders, because teachers, schools, all the responsible part, we are stakeholders. That means we are liable, we are responsible to create a change. Okay, but when you want to create a change, you need a helping hand, right? So what are the helping hands we are having? We have the children, and we have to do things under the jurisdiction and the domain and the level of permissibility of our schools, right? Because as schools, we have certain limitations. We cannot ask the children to go beyond their space, beyond their limits. You cannot ask them. And even, you cannot risk the children also to do something. For example, if there's a legal issue, you cannot force the children to do that. Okay. So that means, what are the primary thing? What is primary that you are going to first and the foremost? The trick to it is evaluate thinking procedure. The well you evaluate the situation, well you attend to it, the better you become. Your goal becomes clear to you all. Okay. So how do you evaluate? Can anybody tell me, if you want to evaluate for your community, how do you do that? In simple 1 or 2 word answer, please. Anybody? Evaluate thinking, I said. So if you want to evaluate your society, that means finding out what are the basic needs, what are the areas, what are the corners you want to work on. So can anybody tell me on safety? No, safety. How do you evaluate on safety? Behavior. You're coming close. One word will clarify that. Education, yes, but one word, one single word. One, education. No, if you educate is a part, already you're educating the children. But how do you reach out to the community? Living standards, no. Living standards is also not this cultural program. Development, interaction. See, you came to very close one. Interaction, okay, that was good. Interaction is okay, but one thing is plain survey. The word survey explains the evaluate thinking better. That means what? Whenever you are reaching out to a community, the first you have to see development, interaction you will do later on. But the primary need is you need to evaluate. Whatever you are doing, the primary thing is you need to evaluate what are the needs, what are the drawbacks, and what are the areas that area is excellent. That is there. Because some societies are very forward. For example, if you have a group of skilled workers, so obviously that group of skilled workers, you have it in a positive, it's a positive goal to your society. You can make use of that. Okay, now I can give you one very small example of that. For example, if you want to reach out to people, for example, you have a lot of people interacting in the society. Okay, so the first and the primary thing is, if you have poverty there. Okay, for example, if you have people with a poverty line, below poverty line, that means you have hunger. That is also a great social problem in the society. So whenever you are dealing with poverty, how can you interact with poverty at the level of school? For example, some natural calamity has happened. Okay. For example, in COVID also, first part we had that migration, and you have seen that many people had come forward to feed the society, right? So as school members, how can we do that? See, school itself, we have a great manpower, If we have a school, if you have a classroom rather of 30 children in a section, 30, 35, 40 approx, that's the number of individuals we have in the classroom. Okay. Now, for example, you have a very group of people, somehow they are victims of natural calamity or they need to be fed. So you can organize camps. You can organize food camps. So how do you organize that? See, 30 children, if 30 children brings 2 handful of rice and 1 handful of pulses, dal, legumes. Okay. So if that they bring, remember you'll have 30 into 2, 60 handful of rice. 60 handful of rice and 30 handful of pulses. So if you collaborate them together, you'll have a huge quantity of food grains. Either you can distribute it to the people, or you can have a camp where you cook the food and feed those people, isn't it? So see, this is how we can reach to these community sections. But our main goal is we have to make some changes that is sustainable development goals. So that is the main motto when you are dealing with community outreach. So when you are dealing with community see, these are the few areas, okay, that comes under a society. For example, see, in the first one, you see here the area. See, museum is a public place, government property. But sometimes, we human being, we just go and litter the whole area around. Okay, we spoil the sanctity of that place. So at least our children can make a campaign at that particular area, so that we create some kind of awareness among the people for not vandalizing them. We can make a project, we can make an agenda that we can do that. Okay, now sometimes, see, in the next one, the picture may not be clear to, I don't know how far it is clear to you all. See, here the children are with small chart papers and like that. So you can all, for example, these are all examples. See, there is no hard and fast rule how you are going to do these, but it all depends on the way you provide. Okay, so you can always create an awareness program, walkathons. Okay, so for example, this drug abuse. Every society has got a huge amount of young generation as well as the old generation. So young generation can be motivated to take the elders, to take care of the elder generation, basic. Because nowadays, this cosmopolitan society where everybody is working, this 21st century, you have the younger generation all very fast move, things are happening very fast, they are running for jobs, professionalism is at the top. So there, this young generation has very little time to help the elder generation. So when they have got such little time to help this elder generation, who will take care? So, in spite of awareness program, you can also make arrangements. You can make volunteers, which will cater to these sections of the society. Isn't it? Drug abuse. There are plenty. Okay. So here in this, you see that sustainable development. That means what are the features? Sustainable development means no one in the society is left behind. Okay. So what is the section where no one is left behind? The first part is poverty. See, social, economical, and environmental. Poverty is there, hunger is there, health and well-being is there, education, gender equality. See, gender equality is also one of the major issues today also. Educating the women, educating the girl child, isn't it? Because there are people, in the society who will educate. It depends on the society also. I'm not taking every, but there are chances where till date, girls are not given the privilege of education, especially even the basic school education. If they are given, they'll not have a chance for a higher education. That is also something very, very different, very, very difficult situation rather. Then, gender equality, again, that dowry issues are there, but here we have a limitation. See, we can create awareness program. Okay, awareness program can be of different types. You can arrange drama, you can arrange skits, then you can have campaigns, walkathons, that way, so that you reach to these problems. These are actually problem. Then economical problem. Now, what is the economical problem? See, if you have a vast section of unemployed, then also you have a problem to that work and economic growth. See, many people who are jobless. So there, you can arrange programs along with the along with your school, you with the students rather. I'm sorry, not with the school. Teachers can think, because the thinking power is very, very important. How you are going to utilize your power, your skill, and your manpower to reach these. Okay. Then finally, the environment. See, the place where you are living is obviously is the environment, and that environment has to be sustained for the future. So you cannot take things like this. You cannot see what are the changes here. See, environmental changes. For example, climate changes, global warming, use of plastic. These are use of recyclable products. So that you have to motivate. Okay, so these are some of the areas, still till date. Great amount of awareness is definitely required. Okay. Then water ecosystem, rainwater harvesting, how to preserve water. And if some part, see in class 10 SST syllabus and all, we have some basic water management, then some agricultural tricks, and that way is there. So if you are making a campaign and if you have these kind of people in the society, you can obviously make a campaign, make an awareness program to reach to them. Then the land ecosystem. See, this land ecosystem, planting of trees can anytime be organized, isn't it? So that means deforestation, afforestation. You create an awareness program among the children, and if you educate them, and they will create an awareness in the society. And here some hands-on activities and skills are very, very essential. Now you see, what are the sustainable development? I said that what are the features. Now how do you do that? How do you do that? See, first is reduce, reuse, and recycle. We all know the 3 R's. That means plastic is also one of the thing. Now, polythene and plastics, we know that these are the present hazards. See, even if you go to the seabeds, the riverbeds, 50% of plastic. And another disaster thing is, that Lay's, not only Lay's, that chips and kurkure. The Frito-Lay is earning a huge amount from the country. If you see a place where even the roads are not proper, but you'll have small shops will be selling plenty of these products. It is cheap, easy. Okay, but those aluminium and plastic foils that is used there, it is non-biodegradable. So one packet, you spend 5 rupees for a Lay's or a chips packet. But that 5 rupees, is very expensive for the Mother Earth, because it is very difficult for her to use that. So you can always reduce this use of things. You can, because if the society is aware, they know what is healthy and what is junk food. If you tell them, so obviously your job is half done. First and foremost, shops near the school should not be selling these kind of things. And especially that Coca-Cola, Pepsi, the bottle might be acidic and might be harming the individual when they are consuming that. But these factories, they produce a huge amount of non-biodegradable waste. And what do? They dump it below the soil. I don't know how they do that, because I have seen, I have heard, and I have read that they are using that. The Coca-Cola factories, they dump those and bury them under the soil. And it is very, very harmful for the nature. So that way, if the consumption is reduced some way or the other, they'll change the selling the products. Plastic bottles. Plastic bottles, for example, that refreshing drink, fruity, Maaza, they are sold in plastic bottles, fruit juices. It might cost you 5 rupee, might cost you 10 rupee, might cost you even 20 rupee or more. You use that, it is refreshing, very chilled, you enjoy the drink. Then what do you do about the bottle? Because the earth cannot enjoy that plastic bottle. What will it do? Either it will be lying in the dustbin, either it would be crushed or taken away by those rag pickers. Okay, then what do you do? That duplicate marketing, that piracy will also come to that. They'll change the label and they'll resell it with some other third class product, which is again very injurious to health. Okay, so then ultimately that 5 rupee you had spent for buying a glass of a bottle of fruity or maza, you created two bottles or 3 bottles or entire how many drinks you take are plastic bottles, isn't it? So Lay's bottles, Lay's Kurkure packets, these bottles, and so many products. Every product nearly you get it in this thing. And sometimes I've seen people that for the convenience, see, plastic polythene bag, it is very light, very easy to carry, leak proof. And whenever you are going to the market, you see a fruit seller selling fruits and all. So, bhaiya zara plastic dijiye. And if that person is not giving, I've seen people shouting on them. Why? Because we are the one to promote these plastics, non-biodegradable thing. Okay, so that means, so if we create an awareness program, obviously we can reduce this thing. We can reuse recyclable products. We have so many, that 0.3 micron or something like that. This polythene comes, that is half paper, half polythene, that can be recycled. And recyclable things are always beneficial. See, there are metals, aluminium is a recyclable one. Iron is also recycled. So that way you use the mineral resources and you can recycle it. So for that, and the garbage area is also collected or scattered in your environment, you can also reduce that. So you can always create an awareness. And our children are excellent in proving this thing, because they are all the 21st century children. If you and they are also very powerful. Today's children, they are the pro version of what it was 3 to 4 years back. Because this COVID situation, I'm stressing on COVID because every time we blame the children that they were in the house and they were doing online teaching and they were just wasting their time. I won't be saying that every children, whoever was in the house were wasting their time. But some children have improvised in such a way that they have become excellent, developed excellent skills in so many phases. And acquiring knowledge can never be outdated, out of fashion. Because you have to see what you inculcate. Whatever culture as teachers you inculcate in the children, if you inculcate 50%, the returning will be definitely 80%. And our children, the 21st century children, are equipped with so many skills. But the thing is, if you motivate them, they will over they'll simply bypass whatever was there in the past. Okay, so that means it is the responsibility of teachers. How do you do that? Now, how do you do that? What is the thing? How will you see? Now, how do you interact? See, you need to interact. See, student and teacher interaction should always be there. How to motivate? Because if you don't interact with your student, you cannot do that. Okay, sometimes if things may be necessary, you don't need the entire class, so you can call few children together. That means teacher with 2 students, 3 students can discuss on a thing. Okay, now sometimes you can give them as a form of group discussion. Children, you do that, make a survey and bring. Okay, so you have to motivate them with holistic activities, that hands-on activity. But the thing is, you have to ignite the flame within. You have to hit that and see the result. And small peer groups. For example, the groups, you divide the classroom into small groups coming from different area, and they will study, they will survey and give you the report. 21st century teachers, they are well equipped with these excellent workmen, and your manpower is there. Now, sometimes you can involve all classroom together. You can give it to all classrooms. See, we'll have a campaign, and you have to take the decision. You have to take it together. See, nowadays policy is you cannot impose anything, isn't it? So all students in the classroom can also be taken together for campaigns, walkathons, awareness program, that way. So how do you do that? Here, see, here, that means what? You have to collaborate, you have to cooperate, and you have to blend everything together. Whatever knowledge you are having, you have to blend these needs of the society along with the children, and you have to form a bridge. That means you have to open out, and you need to communicate with the society through these children. And it entirely depends on your skill, and it entirely depends on how do you communicate. Okay, so communication skill is also one of the major factors in which you should be focusing on, because you have to see, as teachers, as mentors, you have to motivate. Okay, so how do you motivate a children? How do you motivate, or how do you communicate to them? See, at present, our motivation platforms are plenty. Okay, so if you are having a workshop, you can always motivate them by these PPTs. You can always hold a class, show them a PowerPoint presentation, show them something that they relate to it very nicely. Then if you are taking on an online session, okay, show them some motivating videos, how some groups. See, the online platform, they have plenty of it. You name it and it is there. Okay, then you can take help from videos organized by so many schools. You can you can take sources from there also. And sometimes you can click to some sites. But whenever as a mentor you are communicating to the group of people, when you are outreaching the thing, your communication should be crystal clear from end to end. That means what? Whenever you are saying something, it shouldn't be very confusing, so that people don't understand you. For example, if you want to have an anti-poverty drive, okay, so when you are arranging an anti-poverty drive, when you create an awareness program through the children, people may not get a message that you are offering them jobs. So that would be a wrong message to the society, because here we are dealing to the people who does not belong to a domain of the school. Because you have children, and you are as a school holder, they will do that on the basis of the project work, assignment, whatever activities you do that. And one section is that SUPW, social useful productive work, that is also there. But whenever you are reaching to these people in the society, your communication should not create any sort of confusion, any sort of anger. For example, road repair, your children can never go and repair the road. That is beyond their capacity. Okay, but they can make the people aware that if we join together, we can make the road easily. We can do that. So that motivation is always required, and that motivation should always be there with an effective communication skill. Okay, now, as a teacher, what are the various fields you can work through? Here you see the center one. If we assume, see, these are images, and your imagination is like a bare canvas, plain canvas. So you can fill any form of colors you want. So from this, see, if you relate to this program, community outreach, what is the message that is being conveyed to you from this slide? Can anyone? What is the message that is being conveyed? Say you are a teacher. Okay. So you want to create awareness and your medium is through the children. Whatever you will be doing, you have to motivate the children so that it's an excellent communication system and everybody is benefited. The student also understand and the community is also a better one. So how do you reach out to your action? Anybody please tell me any message, what is being signaled from this? The center one is a teacher. How do you do that? Anyone please? You can use the chat box please. I'm waiting for your interaction. Yes, connect with each other. Yes, direct communication. Excellent. Anything else? Okay. Communicate. Obviously, this is an image of communicating. So, direct communicate. Obviously, the person has to directly communicate. But how do you execute the plan as a teacher? Now, here you see the first and the second is these show the means of communication. How do you communicate? Okay. So that text message and the mobile is there. That means what? Whenever you are communicating, you can motivate your work plan through any social platform. You can message, you can use a message platform where you can convey the message. Okay, so you can motivate that way. Another thing is whenever you are conveying something, okay, then this one you see here, it is the corner one where two people are talking to each other. That means what? Here it is an interaction where people are coming to know you are doing a survey. It is a survey level where it is going on. Okay, and the last one you see that year. That means what? If you are doing any sort of a survey, if you are communicating, you should be a good listener. You should listen to what the others are saying. The same thing is applicable whenever you are doing any sort of a community outreach program or whenever you are dealing with the children. That means others' opinion does matter. Earlier also I said that whenever these sort of a community outreach program, when you are dealing with involvement in the community, you should always you have given, after giving your ideas, after giving your messages, it should be crystal clear at both ends, but you should listen to the opinion of children, because children, again I repeat, today's children are tomorrow's citizen and you need to know what they are saying. Okay, so this community involvement, when you are dealing with I need 1 minute time, just I want to show you another slide. Okay, for I want to show you, see this sustainable development goals. Okay, so when you are coming to sustainable development goals, in India, many, see here, UNICEF has been implementing the Sustainable Development Goal in India since 2017. Okay. Before that, India never implemented the Sustainable Development Goal because it was first started by the American government. Okay. But, this Sustainable Development Goal, you can see excellent results of these Sustainable Development Goals when you Yes, is the slide visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
It's visible now. Sustainable development, because somebody yes, in the chat box somebody said it's not visible, right? Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Now you see the Sustainable Development Goal. It was implemented in India by the UNICEF in 2017. It was something, a new sort of a project. And you know, the best and the excellent result for that, you need to see Rajasthan. Rajasthan government, Gujarat government, they have actually used that, because the Ministry of Human Welfare also collaborated together. And you know, there are schools that have come up to it. Even the government sector, schools coming to the government sector also have come up to these sort of programs. Okay. Now see here. Now what is the agenda? You know, the government wants that these sustainable development goals to be implemented from January 2016 to December 31 of 2030. Even NEP also, NEP final goal is 2030. So that is the target. Okay. So there are 17 goals, 169 targets, and 230 indicators. What are indicators? You know, indicators are where there are ways. Facilitators can implement their ideas and facilitators can come up to that. Okay. And you know, the main goal is no one leaves behind. No one is left behind. And you know, the goal is universal. It is not something that is concentrated to a particular section of the society, concentrated to a particular section, society, or particular states. Now here I said that the target is nearly achieved by the government of Rajasthan as well as the government of Gujarat. Okay. But you know, sections, especially our Jharkhand, we need these kind of things, isn't it? And that Jharkhand is supposed to be the greenest part here. So again, that afforestation and deforestation part has to be taken up together. So what are the 5Ps? 5P, where you can implement this. See, 5P is people. 5P, first P stands for people. That means ending poverty and hunger to all the people and ensure dignity and equality. See, that is also, if one section of the people, they are living below poverty line and undignified life. Okay, because nowadays that untouchability and all has, that barrier has been closed down. That marginalization has been removed to certain extent. But you know, the dignity, every citizen of a country has the right to live with dignity, isn't it? So dignity and equality should be there. So how do you treat? And you know, the school as the primary stakeholders, it is our responsibility. How do we treat our parents? See, we have been doing sessions on education for peace and attitude and gratitude, but those comes under the domain of dignity and equality. See, whenever a parent comes, coming from whichever economic background, that is not our thing. But whenever a person enters the school premises, it is his right that he should be dignified. If in case of business, we say that he has already invested on his child. So he demands, he is a business partner. He is a part, if schools are a business center, if we take it that way. But he has invested. And it is his demand, rather right, to be treated as a person with dignity, because we cannot marginalize them as socially uplifted or not. Then the planet, people live in the planet. So first and primary is we need to protect our planet, the natural resources, the climate, for the future generations to come. And even you know, this year I would like to say that petroleum, our next generation and few generations ahead, they won't be depending on e-car. That means cars generated through electricity, because you know, we also have a responsibility to reduce the use of petrol, reduce the use of fossil fuel, so that we leave something for the future. So that is also they needed. Then prosperity. See, that P, prosperity, that is ensure prosperity and fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. See, everybody wants to live a very peaceful and a prosperous life. That is very, very important. So how do we do that? So that prosperity, that means we shouldn't be, I said while communicating, we shouldn't be giving any sort of a wrong message so that the peace in that particular area is destroyed. Okay, communal rights may not be created, isn't it? For example, if you survey on places of worship, you cannot distinguish, or you cannot differentiate between other communities in the society. So those topics that might create or hamper the peace of the society should not be taken together. Okay, then what is the partnership? Partnership means it is to implement the agenda through a solid global partnership. So as stakeholders, or as a school fraternity, if we are belonging to that school fraternity, again, in the school domain, some things are limited. We cannot take in legal issues for example, housing communities and like that. If there's a dispute between the what you call it, the owner, proprietor of that particular complex, and if people are, so that way we cannot, those issues, it would be very intelligent for the people that we should not mess with the legal issues, because at the end of the day we are deploying our children, so their safety is also responsibility of us, so we cannot do that. Okay, so see, here are so many platforms. It is just for an example that what are the environmental sectors, what is the economical sectors, where do we see no poverty. See, these are the goals. Okay, where see, no poverty. See, poverty cannot be removed by giving alms. If you give a 10 rupee to a beggar, you don't end his poverty. You just provide him for a single cup of tea or a snacks with that 10 rupee. Maybe you feel very kingly or godly after giving 10 rupee to a beggar, but it won't end his poverty. So you have to find out what is the root cause of the poverty. If it is lack of unemployment, if it is a lack of employment, make or find out that what is the skill those people are having. Here, I have seen so many people, they that poverty level, if they are not have farming, if they are not employing in farming or any sort of even tenant farming also, because you need the area to be fertile. So bamboo baskets, I've seen there are so many NGOs and all that, so they are trained with those bamboo basket, trained to prepare bamboo basket and prepare item. Even the Jharkhand government, the Jharcraft, they are utilizing that. So many forest areas are there, so many tribes are there where poverty is still there. So at least the NGOs have reached up to that. So our children may not reach up to that level, but you can at least motivate them to create an awareness. Sometimes you can invite somebody on behalf of your school so that they can take part here. Then zero hunger. See, zero hunger is also a very, very painful thing. Some society, you find that dustbins are laden with food, and at the other corner of the society there is somebody who cannot get a bare single meal. One chapati is a dream of that particular child. So how do you end up hunger? So I have seen many schools, rather, they organize those takeaway. How do they take away? For example, there are 7 children coming from that area. So one of the 7 children along with somebody others, every day they bring, the parents are motivated that at least they prepare 4 chapati extra and give it to the child to give to that man on the way they are boarding the bus. So that way, 7 children are there. 7 children, if they contribute 4 chapati to that particular person who is an intermediate, he will go and reach out to 7 other people. Okay, so that if they can make it a regular point, we can create help to some part of the society. Then good health. good health and well-being, people should be aware. That awareness program for health. See, so many people, that polio and all that. You have seen Amitabh Bachchan Zindagi Ke Do Boond telling. Why? Because that advertisement, we like that. He's a great figure. And you know what he says? That every person go reach out to the nearest child and take him to the hospital for that polio, because we can eradicate that. So obviously, you can create an awareness. See, malaria awareness program, I have done myself. I had created an awareness program. I called the children along, went to a particular society, and I had organized that malaria campaign. And I had taken simple drawing made by those children. Children were telling. And you can make people aware that when rainy season comes, those empty bottles, empty tires, empty cups that is in your society, you should be throwing it away. Don't allow water to log around you. Use a mosquito net while sleeping. So these are very, very small things, how do that. Then quality education, obviously, here in Dhanbad, that BIT Sindri, they have engineering students. Okay. So the engineering students in the evening time, I have seen them reaching out to their locality and giving free education to the children. So this is also a very good example of community outreach. Gender equality. See, then gender equality is also and cleanliness and sanitation, at least that part, is very much lacking. And at least we can have a cleanliness drive where we, along with the children, can make a campaign that is we would be cleaning up. We'll be keeping the non-degradable one side and the degradable one on one side, so that people know that what to throw, where to throw, and what not to throw. So they will do that. Then economic. So economically, how do you do that? See, first example is you can train people to use that alternate source of energy. This is low cost. Okay, so those then consumption and production. What is sustainable consumption and production? Tell them how they can get job. So these sometimes, you have to make a survey and you have to do it according to the need of the society. And then, since time, I have only 5 minutes, so I'm rushing with that. Then finally, that environment issue, that's the personal favorite of mine. See, that environment, it is a very, very bigger, and I think it should be taken as an important one, because environment, see what it was years ago and what is presently is. So definitely there is a change in the environment system, right? So there, see, as individuals, we cannot take any action on climate change. We cannot. But we can use, or we can implement something that harms the climate little bit only. Again, I come to that: reduce, reuse, and recycle. See, plastic, if you cut down, that ozone is also not affected. The smell of plastic, it is also very poisonous. It causes yes, clean society, yes, definitely, and that is there. Then life below the water, pond, cleaning the pond, that is also very important, because if you clean the pond, you not only stop that algal bloom eutrophication, you not only stop them, but you have a clean zone in your society, right? You have clean zone in your neighborhood, and at least you help the aquatic flora and fauna, isn't it? And life on land. Life on land can also be a better one if you follow these kind of practices. And then the finally is peace, justice, that is there. That justice part and peace is also very, very important, and we have to do it living within our domain. Okay, now partnership for the goal, that means we have to join hands together. That collaborative effect has to be there. Okay, so without that collaborative effect, you cannot do anything.
जैसे बहुत प्यार करते हैं तो उनका प्यार Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Now, finally, a big thank you to all of you because it was a very interactive session. And thank you all so much for so kindly you have been listening to me and all the good captions that was coming out in the comment section. I'm really thankful to all of you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, ma'am, for your valuable and wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Okay.